Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Hall of Fame Show, and I'm your host, Kirk Buchner, along with my co-host, Evan Nolan, and we bring to you another Hall of Fame production, not in Hall of Fame production. That's the site that we run. Check that out when you can, notinhalloffame.com. I'm assuming you already have because you're watching this. But also, if you're doing that, check out the Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, the Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Vote now, www.notinhalloffame.com/USA. Pretty easy to remember because it's our site in USA. Who can't remember that?
Pretty easy.
I would think, and I think it's going to be an easy show because there's not that much Hall of Fame stuff to do. We sat back last week because there wasn't really that much to do, and thankfully there hasn't been all that much to go through. I could do a bit of a smorgasbord, but you know what? I'm tired and I don't really feel like it.
Fair enough.
You know, because like I think some of it is just sort of like lather, rinse, repeat on things that I've said before that I'm a little bit passionate about, but I'm going to save that for another time. Let's just have a little bit of fun. Let's just do this pretty quick. And obviously, Winnie agrees. If for those who are watching, this is Winnie the Mini Dachshund. Winnie's got a lot of things to say, don't you?
She's a lot quieter than my not mini Dachshund. So.
Well, she tries. She tries. Yeah. She's actually been a good prop. I've been using her in other shows. So when we did the classic football review, when he helped, right? When he showed touchdown.
Fantastic. So, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go directly into your elevator up? Do you want me before we get to the
I just want to do a quick thing on the IIHF because that is something that did happen but a week and a half ago. So I think we should just give a little bit of props to the latest members of the International Ice Hockey Federation Hall of Fame, which if you ever go to the Hockey Hall of Fame, you're pretty much in the IIHF Hall of Fame because it's situated right there. And there's some players that you'll know, some that you don't. But I'll just go through them pretty quickly. And they're all in alphabetical order. So we have our first female official to enter, and that's Canadian Sandra Dombrowski. So congratulations to her. So she refereed a lot of the women's games. Jimmy Foster, who was a player way back in the day. I had to look up who he was, even though he's a Canadian. So he was the goalie for Team Canada in 1936 on their Olympic team.
Okay.
So I was not familiar with him. Here's someone I am familiar with from his time in the NHL, Cristobal Huet. I didn't know that he was French. I thought he was from Quebec. So
I will tell you, people from Quebec say they're French. People from France say that Quebecois don't even speak their language, so
they're not far off.
Yeah,
they're really not. There's something about a Quebec slang. I know when I was in Cuba, there was a lot of Quebecers there. It took me. They sound very different, especially the more rum they have. And to all our Quebec friends, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm not far off. But
that was fantastic.
Well, I'm part French. Can I get away with that? I don't know. My mom's a Quebecer. But yeah,
I'm a whole bunch Quebecois as well. So
that is true. I always forget that. But Huet had a nice career in the NHL. 242 games, won a ring, though he wasn't the starting goalie with the Kings. But he's in there because of his work representing Team France. We've got a pair of Finnish builders. I'll just do these two, even though it's not quite in alphabetical order. So Calvaro Kumola, apologies if I'm mispronouncing that, but a former goalie, and he would serve as in the Finnish Ice Hockey Association as their president for nearly 25 years. And Kimmo Lainanen, who was the co-founder of the Finnish Hockey Hall of Fame and also would serve in the IIHF in various capacities. So, yeah. But Brian Leetch is probably the biggest name, and from the United States, two-time Norris winner, but he represented the U.S. in 77 games, including a silver in the 2002 Olympics, and what is, in my opinion, the second greatest hockey game, international game in my lifetime. That was Canada-U.S. in the Salt Lake Olympics. So the other one for me was the Canada Cup final, Canada versus the Soviet Union. I mean, technically, I was alive during Canada USSR in 72. I was a month old. My memories of that are not too strong.
Fair enough.
But
I was not around I will say though, I currently in this glass, I know if we're not allowed to drink anything on podcasts, but this is finishing up a bottle I inherited from my father that has a import tariff tag on it from 1973.
Oh, so
This
okay,
is
you opened that one before, right?
Yeah, this is the end of
Mhm.
the VO from 1973. By the way, you know the difference between Seagram's VO and Seagram's 7?
Nope.
About 86 miles as the crow flies.
Ah, there you go.
One's made in Indiana, one's made in Ontario. Real close to each other. Same water source, but because one comes from Canada, it's imported. So there you go.
There you go. I learn something new every day. Now I'm actually, well, I'm wagging today, but anyway.
Fair
Um,
enough.
I'm going to actually go two more because there's someone I want to say for last because I don't know if that person got to be the hammer, but they should have been. Uh,
Okay.
Victor Svelig from Hungary, and this is something, Vinny, if you're watching, this is right up your alley, buddy, because he's the winner of the Toriani Award, which is given annually to the player who had the biggest contribution for basically a country that sucks in hockey.
Okay.
Like putting it bluntly, I mean they put it a little bit more accurately than I do, but there's something about somebody who served for their country in ice hockey. You're basically just hoping maybe you're gonna like get to the not, I guess the final group, but he did it for over
Mhm.
20 years, so that's pretty sweet. So I kind of like that. Henrik
Cool.
Zetterberg from Sweden,
Oh, yep.
so Stanley Cup winner with Detroit, collected
I
gold
was gonna say,
in.
isn't he just from Detroit at this point?
Well, yes, just from yeah, you could say that. But internationally for Sweden, Olympic gold medalist for them in the Olympics in 2006, silver 2014. Also won more medals in the worlds in the World Hockey Championship. So, but for me, the biggest star in this, and I don't know because this is the ceremony that had already happened. I don't know. I couldn't find it online, so I don't know who was last. And it's Caroline Ouellette from Canada, and
Hmm.
you can rag on international hockey or women's hockey all you want, and I have,
Mhm.
but you cannot doubt that when Canada versus the United States play in international women's hockey, it is must-watch television. It is
Mhm.
fantastic. Sadly, it hasn't grown. I wish the sport has in Europe. It hasn't, but that's not Caroline's fault. But she has been a great ambassador for Canada and women's hockey. She 4 Olympic gold, 6 World Hockey Championship gold. If that's not what international hockey is all about in terms of success, this is the most successful person by far on international accomplishments entering this class. And
There
I
you go.
wanted to give her just due by mentioning her last.
Cool.
Yeah.
By the way, there was one other Hall of Fame that I didn't know existed until earlier this week. I forgot to send this to you.
Oh, what's
The
up?
National Junior College Athletic Association Hall of Fame
Oh, okay.
had had their third class, and it's an interesting list of people.
All right, who's in it?
So we have athlete Brittany Reese from Mississippi Gulf Coast is probably the only one you don't know very well. She's a track and field athlete. But
Hmm.
the others are from Eastern Arizona, basketball coach Nolan Richardson,
Okay.
probably better
I
known
know
for
that
something
name.
else.
Yep.
From Gaston, and Hall of Fame or Hall of Fame inductee Leonard Hamilton,
Hmm.
you also probably know pretty well. From soccer, from Nassau, Bruce Arena, current coach, former
Okay.
U.S. national team coach, and current coach of New England Revolution.
Yeah, maybe he
And
can
from
coach something right now, huh?
what?
Maybe he can coach something else right now.
We'll get to that in a second.
Sorry.
You were talking about not wanting to bang a dead the same drum over and over. I have no choice. I have to do it coming up. And from Triton College, Kirby Puckett is being
Ah,
inducted.
all right.
So it's the third one they've ever had. They start in 2021. So other members: Jim Tomey, Spencer Haywood, uh, Dick Night Train Lane,
Hmm.
Bob McAdoo, Cheryl Swoops, a few other folks, Larry Brown, a few other folks like that. So, but I just saw that earlier and I forgot to send it to you. So, congratulations.
Yes, and that in the background is the other dog. That is Jasper, the friendly corgi, who's guarding Mount Manitoba with all his 30 pounds of him. You can follow him at Jasper underscore the friendly corgi, where you'll also see Winnie.
There you go.
They share an Instagram.
Fair enough. So,
Yeah.
All right, should we go with the death roll?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so this is for a couple weeks. So I'm going to try and get through it quick. There's not that many. So we have a couple of Hungarians who have passed away, Hungarian athletes. So the Beige Mistress is back at it again. Started with Laszlo Hody, who played for the Hungary in the 1952 Olympics and in the 64 Olympics. First person to compete at the he did Hungary in 652 and Australia in 64, becoming the first person to compete in the Olympics for two separate countries.
Oh, he's the first to do that ever.
First one to do that ever.
You know, you'd think that would have happened before 64, huh?
You would, but maybe it had to do with defections and other things. I don't know. In 64, he was only 30. In 52, he was 18. So it's not like he was crazy old.
Let's see. So Hungary, that would have been Eastern Bloc by then. Yeah, okay.
So, but yeah, so he passed away. He was born in 1934, passed away 2023, so passed away at the age of 89. And also Gerhard Hecker, a Hungarian long distance drummer who was in the marathon in the 1960 Summer Olympics, also passed at the age of 89. I think can't be coincidence, right? Dave Smith is just going after 89-year-olds.
89, dude.
89, exactly. I don't want to go through this quickly. I do have to say, to quote the misquoted Clarence Darrow, usually attributed to Mark Twain, he said, I've never killed a man, but I've read many obituaries with a great deal of satisfaction. I'd just like to say both Pat Robertson and Robert Hansen died this week. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Robert Hansen, for those you forget, was a guy who was an American.
I didn't know who that was. So
yeah, he was an American FBI agent who spied for the Soviets and then for Russia from 1979 through 2001. So 22 years.
Okay.
From the world of just a few actors I want to go through quickly. Do you remember in Men in Black, at the very beginning, they confront the alien, he's got the head on the stick?
I never saw the movie.
Oh, it's a really great scene. The head on the stick was an actor named Sergio Calderon, who was also one of the background pirates from all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. He passed away at the age of 77. And one of the grand dames of B film, Noreen Nash, who was the lead in such incredible. If you ever watch real bad movies on like a Sunday when you were kids,
oh yes,
one of my favorites is Storm Over Wyoming, which is really as bad as you think it is just from the name. But she was in a whole bunch of them like that. Leading lady for about 15 years and then retired to have a real life. Noreen Nash passed away at the age of 99. So aren't that many of those originals left?
She must have had a great life.
Yeah, born in 1924. So, okay. Also, one more. Milt Larson passed away at the age of 92, best known as the magician who opened the Magic Castle in Los Angeles.
Magic Castle, I mean like Disneyland?
Oh, you have no idea what the Magic Castle is?
No, I don't.
If you ever go to Los Angeles, go to the Magic Castle. It's incredibly crazy. Or look it up and just do like a tour online. Okay. It's an incredibly crazy place where people come to do it's almost like a second city for magic. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
But you can just kind of walk in and people are always doing stuff and it's creepy as hell. I highly recommend the Magic Castle.
Okay. Never been to LA, but I'll
last time I was there, I wore a lot of makeup.
Okay.
Because I was on Jeopardy.
Okay.
All right. So we lost a bunch of people for music, starting with one of the great jazz organists, Reuben Wilson, passed away at the age of 88. From lung cancer, although he's had dementia for a while. Kind of one of the creators of acid jazz, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That does.
So yeah, he was 88 years old. Tony McPhee, the founder of the blues rock band the Groundhogs from England, passed away at the age of 79. He had a stroke probably, 15 years ago or so, and then fell earlier this year and had died from complications in the fall. Cynthia Weil. I don't know, is it Whale or Weil? She and Barry Mann, members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, also inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She is the one who wrote Somewhere Out There from An American Tale, among others. On Broadway, You've Lost That Love and Feeling. Kicks, We Gotta Get Out of This Place.
But they didn't, man, they didn't write that either, huh?
Yeah. On Broadway, Uptown, all sorts of different things like that. So she passed away at the age of 82. Also passing away, Dickie Harrell, one of the original members of the Blue Caps, who backed up Gene Vincent. The Blue Caps were elected separately because Gene Vincent was elected a while ago, and then they added those 6 backup groups.
Yeah.
So the original drummer of the Blue Caps, Dickie Harrell, passed away at the age of 82.
Well, at least he got to enjoy that induction.
He did get to enjoy it. Speaking of drummers, Red Hope from the Ramsey Lewis trio, who won the. I don't know. Do you ever do Ramsey Lewis? Do you know anything about him? I've talked about him a bunch of times. He's here in Chicago.
Not very.
He
I know
passed
very
away
little
at the
about
age of 91. They won the 1965 Grammy Award for Best Jazz Performance. But I have like, my mom was a big fan of his, so I have like 12 Ramsey Lewis records in this room right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, yeah, he was 91 years old. Member of I can't think of the name of his band. I don't have it right in front of me. Oh, the Nerves, Los Angeles power pop trio, the Nerves. Writer of Hanging on the Telephone, Come Back and Stay, and You Are My Lover by Susie Quattro. Hanging on the Telephone was originally by the Nerves, and then Blondie re-recorded it. He passed away at the age of 71. Mark Adams, the bass player of St. Vitus. Are you familiar with St. Vitus?
I want to say is that like a glam metal band, or am I?
It's a doom metal band.
Oh, then I'm not even close. Okay, then
okay.
No.
They're like there's the big 4 with it's Candlemass, Pentagram, Trouble, and St. Vitus are the big 4 of doom metal. So Mark Adams, the original bassist of St. Vitus, passed away at the age of 64 from Parkinson's disease.
Ugh.
Yeah. Also passing away, Ed Ames, known probably for very old people as playing Mingo on the original Daniel Boone, but he had a couple #1 hits in 1960s, including My Cup Runneth Over, Time, and When the Snow Is on the Roses. Also a member of the Ames Brothers, the 50s singing group. He passed away at the age of 95. And James Lewis, one of the 73 different singers of Trans-Siberian Orchestra. At one point or another, he was the singer of Trans-Siberian Orchestra from James Lewis. 2004 through 2012. He passed away at the age of 63 from cancer. I think that's it for my musicians. Just making sure here. Oh, one more. Also, Astrid Gilberto, the Brazilian singer who was originally the first one to record The Girl from Ipanema, believe it or not, which is still a very creepy song. The original Girl from Ipanema is still alive. It's a song written by 2 6-year-old guys about a 15-year-old girl they saw walking on the beach. Whatever.
Wait a minute. Okay. That girl's only 15, and I just know the beat. I never really listened to the lyrics before.
Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking. Yeah, she's a 15-year-old girl. She's still alive. She's like 70 or 71 years old at this point.
Did they say that she's 15 in the song?
No, but it was written by 2 6-year-old guys sitting on the beach in, I want to say it's Bahia.
Wait a minute. So they wrote it when they were 60?
They're in their 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
I can never hear that. I can never unlearn that, what you just told me.
You're welcome. The original singer passed away at the age of 83.
Wow.
From other parts of the world, Renato Longo, one of the greatest cyclocross racers in the history of the world, won the
I'm sorry,
world
for the what?
cyclocross.
I don't know what that is.
Bicycle racing, it's basically like it's like cross country on bicycle.
Oh, okay.
We're going through the woods and mud and all that other stuff. He passed away at the age of 85. He won the World Cyclocross Championship in 59, 62, 64, 65, 67, and is a member of the United Cycling International Hall of Fame.
Okay.
From the world of football, we lost a couple people. Norma Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs, after her husband Lamar passed away. She passed away at the age of 85. She's been the owner for the last two Super Bowls that they have won. She was with the team from every time they were in a Super Bowl, from Super Bowl I on, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Yeah,
it's a lot
very much so.
Also from, I guess we'll call football and American track and field, Jim Hines, who won the gold medal in the 100 meters in Mexico City in 1968, also won gold in the 4x100. Then later went on to play for both the Dolphins and Chiefs in the NFL. Passed away at the age of 76. A member of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame and the Texas Track and Field Coaches Hall of Fame. So his world record lasted from 1968 through 1983. So he had 9.95 in 1968 and went to 9.93 in 1983. So he held it in 15 years. There's some question as to whether or not it counted because it was at altitude, which is apparently easier. But it was broken also by somebody at altitude. So I guess it's a moot point. But I mean, breaking that 10-second barrier is a crazy, crazy thing.
Wouldn't it be harder?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe the air is thinner. I know. I mean, they don't count the Boston Marathon as a real marathon, apparently, because you never know these things, because it starts higher than it ends, even though it's like the grand dame of marathons in the world. So this is a weird one. Do you know the name Willie Marshall from, I'll tell you, he plays hockey.
In hockey, I don't know that name in hockey, no.
So he played 4 seasons between 53 and 58 with the Maple Leafs.
Okay.
But he's still, at this point, the all-time, I'm sorry, I take that back. Some of them have been broken. When he retired, he held the all-time record for goals, points, assists, hat tricks, and games played in the American Hockey League.
Okay.
The AHL, and the top goal scorer in the AHL is called the Willie Marshall Award.
All right, so he's basically the Crash Davis of hockey.
Pretty much, yeah. He played for the Pittsburgh Hornets, the Hershey Bears, Rochester Americans, Providence Reds, Baltimore Clippers. He also played with Toledo Hornets in the IHL, but he played from 52 to 72, and passed away at the age of 92.
If he would have been around just 10 years later, he would have had like a 10.
He would have played for years, but there were just not enough spots. There were 6 teams.
Right.
Member of the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame,
Billy
Ray Adams, who's what?
I said Brett Favre. Sorry, when I hear Mississippi.
He's building himself a wing there. But
on whose dime?
You know whose dime.
Yeah.
So Billy Ray Adams, first team All-American from Ole Miss in 1961, passed away at the age of 84. He was a cornerback. From baseball, we lost Mike De La Hoz, one of those utility infielders from the mid-60s, played the Indians, Braves, and Reds. He passed away at the age of 84. Mike Young, who played outfield mostly for the Orioles, Phillies, Brewers, and Indians, and 1 year at the Hiroshima Toyo Carp, passed away at the age of 63, played from 82 to 89.
Okay, I remember him. Yeah.
Bob Bolin, who's a member of the Wall of Fame for the San Francisco Giants, relief pitcher, played with the Giants, Brewers, and Red Sox. Passed away at the age of 84. Pitched 2 games in the appeared in 2 games in the 62 World Series against the New York Yankees. Here's a name. John Sullivan passed away, who was a catcher for the Tigers, Mets, and Phillies. But what is John Sullivan best known for? What did he do on the very last play of his very last game as a coach in Major League Baseball?
I mean, as a coach,
Mm-hmm.
what did he do in his last?
So I'll give you a hint. He coached from 79 to 93.
All right, so 93. So last thing game as a coach. Let's see what happened in 93. What was his team?
Well, he was the Blue Jays in 93.
In 93. Okay, so then he won a World Series.
He caught Joe Carter's ball in the bullpen after Carter hit the home.
Fuck, I never would have got that.
So last thing, he was the bullpen coach and caught the ball that Joe Carter hit in the bullpen in 93.
45,000 people were in that stadium. I think during that game, I think I've met 60,000 of them.
Yeah, I live here and I've at least met 20 others that you haven't met, 20,000. So yeah, John Sullivan was 82. And we have two, I'd say, fairly big names this week. One huge name for us. Another one who has been a part of like baseball for as long as we can remember, probably. Roger Craig passed away at the age of 93. Played for the Brooklyn Dodgers, Mets, Cardinals, Reds, and Phillies. Won World Series with the Dodgers in 55, 59, and with the Cardinals in 64. Also won as coach of the Detroit Tigers in 84 as one of the coaches there. So he got 4 times World Series champion. I best remember him as the manager of the Giants while I was growing up.
Yeah, same.
The Padres.
Yeah, same. I remember mostly his stint with the Giants. One of those. I mean, he had a pretty good career as a pitcher, but I think he achieved far greater success as a coach. Really, reminds me a bit of I guess the National League version of Mel Stottlemyre. Like a really good career as a pitcher, but then actually achieved greater success as a pitching, specifically as a pitching coach. I mean, I know Roger Craig did more like a high level coaching than Stottlemyre did, but yeah, that was the first thought I saw when Craig passed away. For whatever reason, those two are linked in my head.
Makes sense. Yeah. He also was the manager of the Giants in '89 when we had the earthquake.
Yeah.
So
we had one of my best friend's favorite players, or just from that, which I still can't figure out to this day, Kevin Mitchell. Because he had that monster 89 and never did much else.
Right. Well, he did catch the ball with one hand, barehanded that one time. And then he played for the Red Sox. That was the time where the Red Sox just kept signing everyone else's washed up power hitters. That was we were going to have a 3-headed monster with Jose Canseco, Kevin Mitchell, and Mo Vaughn at that point, which never really.
Whoever was running that organization at the time had the same philosophy. They must have been great friends with the Toronto Maple Leafs brass. Okay, I know this was a great grit player like 5 years ago, but he still got something left at age 32. But
yeah, so
whatever.
Just by the way, a lot something to think about. He ended at the Giants coach 92 season. We all forget this point. The Giants were sold originally and were going to be moved to St. Petersburg, Florida after that season.
Right.
And it got that. And the National League rejected the sale. And McGowan bought it and then fired Craig, brought in Dusty Baker, and signed some guy named Barry Bonds. I don't know if that worked out for the Giants. So Craig had an okay season, got fired, and then Dusty Baker won 103 games because he had Barry Bonds on his team.
Right.
But finally, the person I think we both want to spend the most time talking about, a person who seems like has been a part of our lives for all of our adult lives, and honestly, one of the greatest personalities on Twitter. I hope if AI could create a Twitter bot we need an Iron Sheik Twitter bot
The Iron
just to.
Yes. I went back through his Twitter. I didn't have to go that far back to just repeat my new favorite Iron Sheik tweet. And so I did learn that he didn't actually do them. His managers did, but whatever.
Right.
You can
So,
still picture it in his
but
voice.
but time out, time out. He may not have typed them, but his soul was in every single one of those tweets.
Absolutely. Well, here's my new favorite one. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Go.
Go who?
Go fuck yourself, you dumb son of a bitch.
Seems about right.
Yes. That was pretty much all the Iron Sheik's tweets were just like everything was or something about politics. I guess if did he who passed away first, him or Pat Robertson?
He did.
He did. Okay. Well, if it was the opposite, I'm sure he would have said the same thing he does with everything. Like fuck the wildfire, fuck Pat Robert. He would just say.
Yeah.
And you can just sort of picture everything. Sheik was I was trying to think if I ever saw him live, and I realized I did, but it was when he was not very mobile and he was at a really stupid gimmick called Colonel Mustafa, where all of a sudden he was now Iraqi as opposed to Iranian.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, yeah. But yeah, Sheik was great.
I mean, one of the three probably greatest heels in the 80s in the WWE, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say so. He was, how do I put this? So
I do remember him. Sorry, am I remember this correctly? Did he team with Nikolai Volkov for a while? And
yeah,
that was pulled out of the depths of my brain.
you were correct. Yeah,
for a short time in the 80s, I watched the WWF.
Yeah, they were tag team champions, and it would be the same thing. Like Nikolai would sing the Russian national anthem. Nikolai, who's actually Croatian.
Mm-hmm.
But who of us could tell the difference between a Croatian accent and a Soviet accent? I sure.
They're all just bad guys. They're all just bad guys in Terminator movies.
There you go. But Sheik really. So he would. Volkov sings the anthem, and then Iron Sheik would go on and do this. Russia number one, Iran number one, USA. But realistically, the guy loved America. He immigrated to the States in '71. He would have been 31 at that point. Was legitimately at one point one of the bodyguards, not the bodyguard, but a bodyguard for the Shah of Iran. Competed for a spot, didn't get it in the '68 Olympics in Greco-Roman. Would, however, become part of the U.S. Olympic team as a coach, legit, which is where he met the Ganyas in Minnesota. But his career didn't really take off till he was in his late 30s, and realistically, when Iran became an American enemy, and now you have a full legit Iranian who could play this part, and it took off. He played it well. He was over the top with everything he did. He was still able to still work while he was until his early 40s. I mean, when I saw him live in that one show, I mean, it was sort of sad to watch, but one of the great people. He finally got clean much later in his life. It took a long, long time because did you ever hear some of the bits he did on Howard Stern?
Yeah. When they had when he passed away, there was a whole bunch of stuff on Twitter with clips of him doing stuff. I spent some time watching those because I had never seen him before. So I saw him for the first time in the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like it was a sort of a sad period too for his life because he was really not in a position where he should have been doing anything because he was under the influence for a long, long time. But there's this great documentary, apparently done by these. I just found this out today, by these twins in Toronto. And they pretty much helped resurrect his career. They did a documentary. The first half just sort of showing this. Basically, he's looking for crack most of the time, and then he gets clean around 2015. And so the last 6 years of his life, he was off of all that. I mean, his body had all broken down, but
yeah. Well, I still remember my last memory of the Iron Sheik wrestling. So my roommate in my senior year of college, whose name was Tariq Sheik, by the way.
Okay.
So Tarek was big in the WWE. He played a lot of WWE on one of the Nintendo systems that he had. I like playing Doink the Clown all the way through. But they had that gimmick WrestleMania,
The
where
gimmick battle royal.
they put all of them in the battle royal, and I think it came down to it was him, Hacksaw, and I can't remember who the third person
No, no, it
was.
wasn't Hacksaw. It was Sergeant Slaughter.
No, it was it was
Hacksaw
Hillbilly
wasn't
Jim.
in it.
Sorry, it's Hillbilly Jim.
Okay, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Hillbilly Jim and him, and I can't remember who the third person was, and I may have been Stardust.
No,
And
Sergeant Slaughter.
well, Sergeant Slaughter came in afterwards.
Well, he came in after to beat him up after he got eliminated.
Right. So did Hillbilly Jim throw Sergeant Slaughter out?
I don't remember, but I know
Well,
that.
here, all I remember is whoever finished third,
Yeah.
Hillbilly Jim threw him out, and Hillbilly Jim's like leaning over as far as he can
Mhm.
over the ropes to yell at whoever he eliminated. And Iron Sheik had been basically standing in the corner the whole time, like picked him up and threw him out. And
Yeah.
then everybody had supposed to like booing him, cheered him incredibly. And then that's when Slaughter came out and like and gave him the Cobra Clutch,
The
right?
Cobra Clutch. Well, you know why they had him win, right?
Because they couldn't follow the ring. He would have broken.
Yes, that's exactly right. That was it exactly. They were worried that, holy crap, we don't think that he can actually take this bump over the top rope.
Yeah. I remember Doink was actually in that as well.
Mhm.
And he got eliminated earlier. And I just remember thinking, wow, he's the only person I think you're going to actually like jump over the ropes still of all these people. I feel like he
Yeah.
got eliminated early just so you could see like, oh, people could be thrown out.
It was like a 4-minute match.
Yeah, it didn't take very long.
No.
I can't remember. They put like 20 something people in there all at the same time, right? Can't
Yeah.
remember who it was. It's how many there were, but
So a lot of them are no longer with us, unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think we've talked about a few of them actually on the show. Yeah, because Kamala was in that.
mm-hmm. I'm trying to look to see if we get a whole list of who finished where. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, no, I mean, so Sheik, I'm glad that sort of like, like last time we talked about superstar Billy Graham, and I said that you figured this day was like could have happened anytime in the last 20 years. Sheik, kind of the same thing. It's just really glad though that he was able to really he was one of those guys who got a second life just as a personality. And at the end, he was able to enjoy it rather than be sort of taken advantage of, because he was. He also had this one, the most interesting midsection too, because he once he got ripped, right? And then as he started to put on weight, he still had the 6-pack for the longest time as his belly got bigger and bigger. Like, I don't know how, if it was anyone else, I would think like, how, like, come on, like you got that, that's an implant, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just like like one of the best heels. He just knew how to work that. In the Goonies video, I believe, I think, yeah, Corey Feldman did a little tribute out to him because he was in the music video. Goonies are good enough.
Okay.
You got that battle royal list?
I'm looking for it right now. I did see that it was 3 minutes and 50 seconds long. For 19 people. And one of the people in there was Drew Carey.
Drew Carey was not in that match.
What?
He was not in that match.
He was in that match. He was in that Royal Rumble. I take that back. It says Drew Carey beats the 2001 Royal Rumble.
Yes.
I'm looking. I can't find a full list.
I
see a video of it. I'm looking right now. Yeah, I don't see a full list. There's Kamala. There's there are a whole bunch of people. I'll have to watch a video afterwards to give you a full list.
Earthquake, Typhoon, if I remember right, Kamala, the Bushwhackers, Brother Love, the Gobbledygooker.
Oh, the Gobbledygooker. Wow. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, RAP to one of the great ones. Former world champion. His rants on Hulk Hogan will live on forever.
Yes. Yeah, his rants are right up there with the one for from Andre the Giant. That one. It's like my mother told me never to say anything mean about anyone but I can't keep that for Hulk Hogan, who is I can't remember exactly what it was, and I want to break his face. Can't remember exactly where that one came down to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sort of interesting how that sort of all spun around too. Just Hulk Hogan is now very much the ultimate villain in a lot of people's eyes. Anyone who sort of saw
Yeah,
that doctor video. Not that I saw it,
yeah,
but I heard it, and that was enough. I'll leave it at that. This isn't about the Hulkster. It's about a great legend. And I just want to close up with one other person who passed on. Uh, Sadly, it's not been a great year in my family in the last 12
oh
months.
no.
Yeah, my oldest cousin passed away yesterday. So,
Ugh,
Rob, love your brother. So, just wanted to give a little shout out to him.
understood.
Wherever you
Rest in
are,
peace.
guys, just grab a Molson if you could. That was one of his favorite drinks. He named his dog Molson.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, I just wanted to do that. So, it's hasn't been the greatest in terms of family survival, we'll say, but we live on. We live on, we persevere. Uh, I guess this now goes in the elevator, and I'm going to keep it brief because I already know what one of your uglies is. Next week, I'm probably going to have a lot more on the elevator. In the elevator, for those who are new, it's I look at who's made a case elevator up, who's made a case elevator down for their respective halls of fame.
Elevator up, elevator down.
Next week, with the conclusion of the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals, which might happen by the time, there'll certainly be a lot to say. But right now, there's a whole group of people whose elevator just went up. I talked about it
Mhm.
recently, and one of them being Brooks Koepka. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Who won
That's correct.
the PGA title, which meant that he was the first, and I guess now only LIV player to win a major because there's a big merger now. We wondered, and we don't know the answer to this.
Look, I'm going to just ask a question here.
Sure,
I don't know if they're going to be able to merge. We'll get to that in a second.
they may not be able to.
Hmm.
They may not be able to, but let's presume that they will be able to because money usually talks. And I'm going under that presumption with this elevator. This could all
Fair
be,
enough.
yeah, this could all be sort of revoked next week or in the future. But if this does all go through, and if all these players are back, and like Kepka, there's a few players who bolted who are in the prime of their career. And if you're the Golf Hall of Fame and now you're looking at championships and wins, and you're not counting LIV, now LIV sort of done, you didn't lose that much. So all these players now are pretty much our elevator ups when 2 years ago they were elevator downs because we think we're not sure because we don't know we didn't hear much from the Golf Hall of Fame on it, or if they did, I didn't catch it. They're probably, but the belief was that the Golf Hall of Fame, being traditionalists, because it's golf, right? Of course, they're going to be
Right.
traditionalists. They're going to frown upon what you accomplish on a tournament that is not sanctioned by the PGA. Now it is.
But his team won. I'm kidding.
Yeah. But so in theory, these are all of these guys I would think are elevator ups. They're going to have to be. But I thought that might segue into your ugly because I know that's something that you really wanted to talk about, and so do I, for that matter. So
Yeah.
let's get into it. Oh, it's the good, the bad, and ugly of the week.
No, it's the ugly, the bad, and the good.
Yes, this time.
So
Yeah.
it's wah wah wah. So um, hmm. I didn't think I would ever be bringing up the great Osgood Fielding the Third, who said at the end of "Some Like It Hot," "Nobody's perfect."
Oh,
But
that's a good
Bryson
name.
DeChambeau's
Okay.
defense of the saying 9/11 was 20 years ago and nobody's perfect is probably just about where we need to start with this whole thing.
Wait, did you say that?
Oh yeah,
How did I miss that? Okay,
yeah.
that's awful.
I mean, DeChambeau was one of the first people who jumped
Hmm.
originally. Um, so he was on CNN yesterday, and it's a train wreck of an interview. If you'd like
I
to,
gotta. All right, I'm gonna watch that after.
yeah, it's not so good. So this week is the Canada Open, right?
Hmm.
So last year at the Canada Open, our our commissioner, Jay Monahan.
Mm.
This is a Silky Johnson situation. What can I say about the morals of Jay Monahan that can't be said about Afghanistan?
I knew this was going to come up on this episode. But yes.
I am not going to get on Jay Monahan for taking Saudi money, believe it or not. That is not what I'm going to get on him about. Saudis are going to be taking over a lot of stuff. I think we've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
They already have 2 of the F1 races. They own Newcastle United. They own Manchester United. They are probably at, now that they've controlled golf, my guess is next up is tennis. You and I have already talked about this, which is ripe for the picking. Like 100% ripe for the picking on tennis.
Same. All they have to do is follow the same pattern they just did, because they can get a whole whack of those players.
That's all they're going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting to the point in general, just this is an aside before I get into Jay Monahan's, what's the word I'm looking for? Burning, smoldering ash of a soul, is that the problem we're going to get to very shortly here in professional sports in general is that teams are becoming too expensive. And what I mean by that is we're getting to the point where, like, Bob Kraft bought the Patriots for like a few $100 million, and now they're worth $6 billion. The Patriots are the 3rd most profitable franchise in the world, which is crazy when you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. If the Krafts are going to sell, there's like 7 people who could afford to buy it. We're going to have a lot of corporate control, companies taking these things over, and governments with money to invest taking these things over going forward. So what we're seeing now with the PGA is not a surprise. We're going to see a lot more of it going forward. That being said, a year ago at the Canada Open, Jay Monahan was asked about LIV or LIV or whatever the hell we're calling it, 54 golf, coming out with the Saudi money, and said that he heard the concerns of the victims of 9/11, and that nobody ever had, he'd ask anyone who was thinking of jumping that if they'd ever had to apologize for participating in the PGA Tour. Basically taking the moral high ground on the back of people who've been victimized in the largest terrorist attack in this country, in the history of this country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then turning around a year later, literally a year, it's the Canada Open to the Canada Open. And after they've been involved in this bitter court thing back and forth, and maybe it was he just didn't want discovery to happen, where if they actually went to court, there's going to have to be investigations into what people actually did here. He didn't want discovery to bring anything out. Maybe it's just the fact that the PGA actually doesn't have as much money as the Saudis. So this was always going to be the way it went, and they were just posturing for the last year and pretending not to like each other. Pulling everything together over what seems like a couple of weeks, and then saying he trusted the Saudi guy within 10 minutes of meeting him.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Completely. And now this is one of those situations where you have a new boss come in to a company and bluster around and screw stuff up and somehow merge with another company and get themselves promoted to some other cool looking role, talking about how great they did while the employees are left to pick up the pieces and try and figure out what the fuck just happened. It's exactly what's going on here. And I'm borrowing that thing, by the way, from Kevin Clark on The Ringer. His article on this in The Ringer is fantastic. I highly recommend everybody read it. But that was one of the best similes I've ever seen. That part of this is disgusting. Everyone's going to be taking this money. I'm not arguing that. At some point, there's going to be money coming from somewhere. Whoever has enough money to buy a sports team, by definition, is an awful person. Because if you have $1 billion, you are by definition a shitty person. I'm sorry. You just are. Right? With all this stuff going on in the world, you're just a crappy person. So no matter who we're selling to a person who's got dubious morals to begin with. But to leverage the pain and sorrow of a group of people only to then just turn right around and make this deal behind the back. Here's how sudden this deal was. Greg Norman didn't know about it until it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Norman, who's been the poster child for being the idiot in the pocket of the Saudis over the last year, had no part in this. That's how silent this was. The players, Tiger Woods found out about this on Twitter.
Yeah. I think with Greg Norman, I think the term useful idiot applies. But yes, for me, I agree with everything you just said. I guess maybe I've had a boss before who would blow so much great smoke, and it took you a while for you to realize, oh my God, I just got fucked over, and then
Mm-hmm.
do it again because he was just so good at this. I wonder if this is how a lot of these players sort of feel right now because you're going to be taking Saudi money now if this all goes
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
And
So now all these guys who took the stand against taking Saudi money before, their choices are take Saudi money or quit golf.
yes,
Because there's nowhere else to go.
no, because this is also attached with the Euro League too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're even in conjunction with that league I just read about that Serena Williams is involved with. That some virtual league that her, Venus, and Serena's husband, the guy who founded Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize, I don't know what it is because I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to watch fucking virtual golf.
Yeah.
But either way, that's now I believe that's part of the whole blessing with that. So yeah, just that whole way where all the people you asked to trust you, you blindsided every single one of them, including so all your not their employees because they're not employees, but the people who you asked and begged, don't take this money. You're selling your soul if you do it. Because who knows what he said to some of these people to do that? Because I guarantee you there were some of these golfers who were on the fence. And they're talking to their buddies who are saying, like, look, I just made this much.
Yep.
And I'm working a hell of a lot less, and my life just it was life-changing money. And yes, you can say, well, wait a minute, they're already making tons of money. Now they were offered big salary increases. It's life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. So all of that's for nothing. What this is going to do to golf is probably this: nothing. Nothing. It's if anything, it's now you've got to this league is if it all goes together, and it probably will. Now there's no lack of star power.
Well, there's definitely no lack of star power. So I'm looking for something specifically, but keep going.
I forget who there was a bad joke I read. I don't know who it was who said it. But now that the Muslims are involved, does that mean there's a virgin at every hole with 72?
I also saw that the PGA is going to be responsible for holes 1 through 8 and 12 through 18, and the Saudis are going to handle 9, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like this whole thing is just. I mean, if you're Rory McIlroy right now,
right? Because he was the biggest guy who was the biggest proponent, and no disrespect to Tiger Woods, because Tiger was the biggest name, but Tiger is the only
it's not Tiger. He's not Tiger anymore.
No, but that's not really where I was going with that. Tiger still been a draw for the LIV, but Tiger's the only one. He's the only golfer who says, "Fuck you, I don't need this money. It doesn't change."
That is true.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
I got it. Understood. Yeah. But I mean, McIlroy turned down $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and now he's still stuck taking the same money. So here's the funny thing, and this is what I think makes it ugly. The SEC is already looking at this proposed merger. And I know they're just in court and LIV was losing the antitrust argument, but there are only 2 golf leagues. And if they are combining and the players are forced to go into a situation, this isn't the USFL and the NFL, where one is trumped to $1.73 for the settlement, but where they're essentially the same, run by the same group of people. there are people who are basically being forced to work for people they don't want to work for, which makes it a very different antitrust argument. And it's entirely possible they block this merger. And then where are we? This is maybe a long drag out fight. They say they're going to start in January 2024. That is not happening. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Not. I hope not. I hope this falls apart. I really do. But
I mean, it's just not going to happen. This is going to be tied up in antitrust everything. Now, maybe the Saudis buy that off too. They can. I don't know. But as of right now, I don't actually think this is going to happen. Just because of the same arguments LIV made, plus now people being forced to work for people who they may have moral disagreement with, because there's absolutely nothing about it, who are on the record routinely of having moral disagreement with, and having no option of anywhere else to go.
It would take, though, I think, a lot of these golfers to say, we're not doing this.
Well, I mean, the SEC doesn't care.
No, but when there's external pressure.
No, sorry. Yeah, SEC. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's really where I'm going with that. I mean, like a lot of the time, most corporations don't give a shit about anything and anybody.
of course.
Unless
they do care about one thing. It's the money, which is always the answer.
That's where I'm going. Unless it's something it's going to affect their bottom dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Like with a lot of the companies, I don't believe that most of these teams actually give a shit about pride and any of this stuff. I really don't think they care. Mm-hmm. I think they want to seem like they care, and if they can make some extra dollars on it, great. If it sort of turns around where the wind is blowing a different way, we see how fast some of these how fast they'll change. It's not how I really want to see this play out, but wherever the dollar goes is usually what the outcome's going to be.
That is true. That's true. But,
morals aside,
I mean, the moral story is don't be loyal to the company. Just always take the money, because the companies eventually can take the same money.
That's what I think every PGA golfer's thinking right now. Who was offered to go, and all the ones who went just started going, should have listened to me. And it's hard to argue.
Who comes out smelling like roses this whole thing? Phil Mickelson.
Yes, he does.
He looks fantastic. Crazy.
It is, and he's saying, should have listened to me, boys. Yeah. And how do you argue that?
Yeah, just absolutely crazy. I mean, right now, Karim Benzema, the international soccer player, not sure if you're familiar with him.
I don't think so.
He was just offered $635 million to go from Barcelona to a team in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's just money coming out of anywhere. Can you imagine if we actually just went to like electric vehicles? Who would buy any of these teams? So,
well, if we're ever going to do that, we're going to have to get parking lots that only have more than 2 possible charging stations.
That is also true.
I can't think of the last time I ever saw a parking lot that had more than 2. Granted, I'm not looking that hard, and also I don't have a car right now. Holy shit! I'm really contributing to the whole. My carbon footprint's pretty low right now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, there you go. I'm an eco warrior.
I've never thought anything other than you.
Well, I appreciate that. Now I knew what your bad was going to be, unless there's more that we want to talk about golf. Because
that's enough. We've
because I read that it was like a week and a half ago that they just had their second interim coach for the USMC, United States.
So we had an interim coach. The interim coach left. They're like, okay, it's good. We'll be fine with Anthony Hudson. But then Anthony Hudson just left for Al Markia, which is a team in the Qatari League.
When you started that, it's like, shit, did you lose another one to Saudi?
No, yeah. They went to the Qatari League.
Okay.
So now we're on the next coach. So I'm sorry, I have to close a couple of these things here. Our next coach.
The next coach up for bid.
Yeah, is BJ Callan, who has been with the team for a little bit now. But I would like to point out again, the Gold Cup starts in 9 days
You have a
from
team
now.
set? Your team's set, right?
The team is probably set, but what are we doing? So
Uh,
it's not just that. US is in disarray right now. Leeds got demoted from the EPL. Leeds was the team that had the most Americans, right? Including Tyler Adams, our captain. Winston McKinney was there. Brendan Aronson. Adams is going to be going someplace else. I don't know where.
and I saw another team got demoted.
Yeah, well, I have no idea what you speak.
Okay.
And yeah, pour one out for Leicester City. But they're all a mess. Pulisic is not really welcome at Chelsea anymore. He doesn't really have a good place to go. If he's going to the Bundesliga, there are really only two teams you want to go to. One he's already played for, and the other is coached by Thomas Tuchel, who's the guy who buried him on the bench in Chelsea anyway. The biggest American soccer star we have right now is Lionel Messi, who is coming into Inter Miami. By the way, Inter Miami now has more Twitter followers than any other professional sports team in North America.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Holy crap.
I considered buying tickets to Inter Miami coming to Chicago back over the last couple months, just in case that happened. But the problem is the date of that game is my niece's birthday, October 4th. So I didn't do it trying to figure out what's going to go on and everything. So the average game for the Chicago Fire is like 20 something dollars, 25, $30 for an okay seat. The lowest seat you can get right now for that game is $350 just for that one game. So just to give you an idea of what that Messi means to the league.
Wow.
And Barcelona was all salty about it, that he didn't want to come back to Barcelona, but Barcelona can't afford him because they screwed their salary constraints so much they can't afford to bring him in under the minimum contract. They can bring him on.
Right, so I don't know. I mean, I watch occasional MLS, but I'm certainly not cognizant of the financial situation here. Is there a cap in MLS, or like can they?
There is a cap, but there are ways to get around it for really good players. And so they're getting money from Apple TV to broadcast games.
Okay.
The league is actually diverting some of the money that they're getting to give directly to Messi.
Okay. Because like
so essentially all the teams are cutting in some of their money because they figure having Messi in the league is going to mean a lot more money for them overall.
Because this is not like when Beckham finally showed up in the United States, right? Messi's still got a lot more in his tank.
I mean, PSG won the French title this year. They were eliminated in the first round of the elimination stage of
the Champions League.
Champions League. Thank you. They lost to
okay.
Come on, Bayern Munich. Mm-hmm. So they lost to Bayern Munich, who then just lost to Man City after that. So I just going back to the U.S. national team, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know where they're going to go. They say they're going to hire someone by the end of the summer, which is cool, except that the North American tournament, which maybe we don't care about, but why don't we care about it? It's an international tournament where at least Mexico and Canada, who did pretty well in the last World Cup, and Costa Rica, who are going to be we know Mexico and Canada are going to be in the World Cup in 2026. Costa Rica is almost definitely going to be there. Who these other teams are going to be there? I don't get why. I don't get why we are. I mean, it's been since January.
I could be mistaken, Evan, but I'm trying to think of the last time any non-soccer power, and I'm not going to lump the U.S. as a soccer power.
U.S. is not a soccer power.
Okay, but they're a lot
better.
The
U.S. is a regional soccer power. You have to consistently.
Okay, but
you have to consistently make like more than just the first round of international tournaments.
Okay, but they were a lot better than when I was a kid and they hosted in
no
1990. Was it 1990 or 94?
1990, where they had to win in Trinidad and Tobago. And
yes. Okay. Well, no, because 1990 they still had to qualify. 94 they hosted.
94 they hosted. I'm saying 90 was the first time they qualified forever against Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, but
94 they hosted.
Yeah, they've come a long way since 94. Saying that, since that time, I've watched, obviously not with the same eagle eye that you have, but like non-soccer powers like South Africa, like even dare we say Kuwait, put in a hell of a lot of effort to try not to embarrass themselves or just try to, like, for years and years and years and years of effort before they're
Qatar.
hosting. What did I say? Kuwait?
You said Kuwait. Yeah, Qatar.
Okay, sorry, Qatar. My bad. Uh, Still putting in a hell of a lot of effort. Some success, some not, but at least they had a plan together. I've never seen something where there wasn't one.
Yeah, and all the people who should be making decisions have left, and then we need to replace those people so they can make decisions. Like it's a disaster. I don't. It's not a disaster yet. I take that back. It has the definite possibility of being a disaster coming up here very, very soon.
It's like hiring a bunch of arsonists to put out some fires.
Yeah, pretty much. So the US's first game, by the way, I was off by a week. US's first game is June 24th against Jamaica here at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Go to that?
We shall see. There's a lot going on at the end of the month, so we shall see if I'm able to make that.
Right.
But my point is, today's the 8th. That's 16 days away. We don't have a manager going into the North American Championship tournament. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. So what's good? Let's end this on a nice, happy note.
I hate saying I don't really have a really good.
So there's no good. All right. How about this? I'll give you a couple here. Baseball's been a lot of fun. Rob Manfred, as much as we've shit on him, accurately so, it's under his watch that baseball got a lot more interesting. I love that there's more stolen bases. I love that we have a guy, I don't know if he's batting over 400 now in Arias with Miami. He was yesterday. I don't know if he still is today. But I've been enjoying just a lot of these little changes. The stolen base is back. I'm happy.
That is true. The stolen base is 100% back.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that I had to come up with the good, so like a bit of pressure here on me.
Yep. And baseball is a lot more interesting. The AL East is very, very difficult. The AL Central is a minor league system, and baseball is a lot faster. So,
and if Oakland can't get people this year, wait till it's next year, and they're even more of a lame duck.
Well, apparently, it looks like they're not the Vegas people voted it down. So I don't even know the stadium down. So I don't even know what they're going to do.
Oh, I missed that. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, temporary.
Probably.
Yeah.
Portland, Oregon. Here we come.
Oh yeah,
I'm just trying to think, like, where do they go? I mean, what's the major cities in the U.S. that don't have baseball? San Antonio, Charlotte, Memphis, Nashville,
Montreal.
I don't know if baseball would work in Canada.
The stadium's still there. It's like
It is.
It was like dumped 30 years ago, but it's still there. I don't know. Hard to
San
say.
Juan, Puerto Rico. Let's go.
Why not?
Why not?
All right. So I guess with that, it's just time to plug a few things. Along with the weekly show here that Evan and I do, there's a bunch of other shows that I do. There's this. How the hell was this? I got so many now that they're all blend together. How the hell was this a hit? Because we changed it because we did a lot of the #1 songs. So as opposed to how the hell did this go #1, it's how the hell was this a hit? The last one we just recorded was about Trio. Da da da.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah.
Da da.
Yeah, that one. Yes, that one really went off the rails, especially when I learned that there was only one of them left. So I suggested that they could go on tour as Uno. But yes, there's that. The retro football show, the last episode we recorded was on Super Bowl 6, so that's going to go up with my co-host Paul Lawrence. Glenn Pulowski and I, we also do the classic sports review, and we decided we're going to look at the first episode of Roller Games next. You ever heard of that?
Which one?
roller games.
Roller games?
Yes.
The league, the roller derby league?
Yes, but it was basically fake roller derby.
Oh no, I don't think I knew that one.
Yeah, where there was a live crocodile pit.
Okay, so it's just like a Florida Thursday night.
Sure. Why not?
Fair
I might
enough.
use that. But that yes, so we're gonna be taking a look at that. This crap was on national television. The Small Wonder episode's doing pretty good. So the last one that we've have that will be up probably for a while because my partner on that one, Chris Bernay, has got getting really, really busy with work. So I don't know when the next episode will be recorded, but the next one will be we looked at Hit Me Baby One More Time, the UK version, where
Hmm.
current no has been sing current songs. Only this was done in 2005, so they're really, really, really has-beens now.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's always the show that I do with Vinny LaSpanusa where he makes the Hall of Fame case for. And again, I said this last time, but I'm so proud of him because the last one he did was about basketball great Max Zlowski, which was seen by Max's son, who sent Vinny
Fantastic.
sent Vinny a great note about that, and Vinny was kind enough to share that with me. So I'm really proud of
Cool.
all the work that our fine young child is doing.
Yep. He's
Six is four.
gonna take over the voting blocks one at a time.
Yes, and speaking of voting, actually, we I'm just trying to get the voting body together, and that's for the Pro Football Hall of Fame Revisited. Evan's a part of that. The few other people are part of it too, but we're trying. I want to get about 40, between 40 and 50 people. So if you want to be a part of that and you know your football history, we'd love to have you. And it's really easy. All you got to do is vote. I'm not even asking you to do any kind of work. You don't even have to come on camera, nothing, anything like that. We'll send you the ballot. Evan and I did this for a Rock Hall thing. We had a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, if you're into this stuff, this is for you. That's it.
Sounds
That's
good.
all I got. It's late night for us both here on Mount
It
Manitoba, in the
is.
city of Chicago. And with that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, stay safe, everybody.
Take care, everyone.